So, we always hear it's better to give than to receive. We're about to enter Christmas. And I think I want to say the opposite of that today. So some months ago I was speaking in a big major American city, and after the talk, a guy came up to me, and he was a former gang member, had been in prison, tattooed, and now he was a hardcore gang intervention worker, outreach worker. And he was very earnest and good-hearted, and he just pleaded with me. How do you reach them? He said. And I said, for starters, stop trying to reach them. I think the only question, of course, is can you be reached by people? I think that's the whole deal. So on Sunday, I spoke at a conference on compassion, and I was the keynote speaker there, and I heard other people speak, and I found myself saying, we think that compassion is something that we do or that we give, but I think compassion really is about allowing yourself to be reached by the other. You allow yourself to do it. I think that's important. Ahimsa, which is a principle of nonviolence, is not just about no violence or saying no to violence. It's also about saying yes to compassionate living. And compassionate living is about receiving other people. I know when I embrace myself as I'm preparing myself to walk in here today, I never want to say give, give, give. I want to say receive, receive, receive. In January, as always, we have the Loyola High students who come here and give a month of service. And we've been doing this for 15 years. Usually there's 2 to 3. And they always ask me the same question every year, what are we going to do here? And I always say, no, what's going to happen to you here? And I think that's true for all of us. People will say, and it's a good inclination because you want to serve, and that's where you begin, but that's not where you want to end, because you want to end in kinship, not in service. People say, I want to give back, I just want to give back. And I always think, no, just receive from people. Just allow yourself to be reached by people. I think that's the whole deal right there. Years ago, I was riding my bike in the housing projects, and I was surprised that when I came to this one area, there were no homies there. I figured maybe cops had been hot that night, and everybody went inside. But then I looked and I saw this kid, Louis, 16-year-old gang member, sitting on the stoop right in front of his apartment. So I rolled up on my beach cruiser, and I said, Louis, what are you doing? And he said, praying. But he said it in a way that didn't want to bring attention to himself. It was kind of remarkable. And then he said, it's funny, right now I was asking God, give me a sign that you're as great as I think you are. And then you showed up. And he reached me. He pulled the favor out of me. And I felt a little bit favorable because of it. What did he get out of the deal? He was able to live his gift, maybe. Maybe he was able to live and inhabit the truth of who he was. Both of us won because we ended up in a place of connection and kinship. And I looked at him and I thought, the day will never come when I am as holy as the 16-year-old gang member sitting on the stoop in front of his house in the projects. But I sure want to be. And he led me to that. He reached me. Maybe I allowed myself to be reached. But in the process, both our hearts were tenderized and brought to some truth. The truth of who we are. I think it's better to receive than to give. And when we stand with the other person in their brokenness, what it reveals to us is not our superiority to that person, but indeed our own brokenness. So it's a privilege to walk with each other. It's a privilege to receive from each other. It's a privilege to allow ourselves to let something happen. So let's do that today.